Of course, here's the combined English version of the first two stories, written as one long continuous adventure. The Dusty Car of Time. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived two siblings, Eylül and Mert. Eylül was 13, curious and imaginative, while Mert, her 10-year-old brother, was full of energy and always ready to follow her into any adventure. That summer, they went to stay at their grandfather's old countryside house. The house was ancient, its wooden doors creaked, and yellowed photographs hung on the walls. Behind it stood an old barn, filled with forgotten things. One rainy afternoon, while their grandfather napped, Eylül and Mert decided to explore the barn. Dust filled the air as they pushed the heavy door open. Inside were broken tools, wooden crates, and, hidden under a large cloth, something huge. When they pulled the cover away, they gasped. It was a classic car, dark green, round-headed lights, shining as if it had been waiting for them. Mert's eyes widened. Wow, Eylül, this car looks brand new. Do you think it still works? Eylül opened the door carefully. Inside were strange glowing symbols, and next to the steering wheel, a bright red button. Without thinking, Mert pressed it. Suddenly the car shook. A storm of lights and winds surrounded them. The children clung to each other, terrified. Then everything stopped. When they looked outside, the barn was gone. Instead, they saw a small village from long ago, stone houses, dirt roads, people carrying baskets, children playing barefoot. The villagers froze when they saw the strange car. Women dropped their baskets, children ran to hide, and an old man tapped his cane nervously. What is this devil's carriage? He cried. Eylül stepped out bravely. We won't hurt anyone. We came here by mistake. The villagers stared at their strange clothes and whispered among themselves. Finally, the old man led them to the village square, where the headman listened to their story. Though he doubted them, the mysterious car left him thoughtful. That night, the villagers offered the children food, hot soup, bread, and stories by the dim lantern light. Mert whispered to his sister, wide-eyed. It's like we're inside a fairy tale. But the next morning, trouble began. Some villagers tried to tamper with the car, hoping to learn its secrets. The children panicked. What if the car broke? What if they could never return home? Just then, the village's oldest grandmother approached. Her voice was calm and wise. This car is no accident. You came for a reason. Perhaps to solve our greatest problem. The children soon learned what she meant. The village's spring had dried up, leaving people desperate for water. Eylül thought hard. Maybe the car could help them travel again, to find a solution. Mert's eyes lit up. Yes, we can go to another time, learn how to fix it, and come back. The villagers watched anxiously as Eylül and Mert got back into the car. Mert pressed the red button. With another storm of lights, they were thrown forward, this time into the future of the very same village. There, the children saw paved streets, fountains, and canals carrying water everywhere. A kind old man explained. Years ago, our people built a stone canal from the mountains. That's how the spring came back. Eylül quickly memorized the idea. They returned to the past, explained the plan, and soon the villagers began building stone canals. Days later, the spring flowed again. The whole village celebrated. The children were heroes. But it was time to leave. Waving goodbye, Eylül and Mert pressed the button once more. When the light faded, they were back in their grandfather's barn. Everything looked the same, yet nothing felt the same. They now shared a secret. The dusty old car was no ordinary car, it was a time machine. The second journey. For several days, Eylül and Mert couldn't stop thinking about the car. It seemed to call to them every time they walked past the barn. One night, Mert whispered, Eylül, let's go again. What if it takes us somewhere new? Eylül hesitated, then nodded. Inside the car, they noticed something they hadn't seen before, a faintly glowing blue button next to the red one. Eylül pressed it. Once more, the car rattled and spun through time. When it stopped, the siblings gasped. They were outside a medieval city, with high stone walls, guards in armor, and people in cloaks leading horses and carts. Eylül, I think we're in the Middle Ages, Mert whispered. The guards spotted the car and shouted, witchcraft, seize them. Soldiers surrounded the children and led them to the city's throne room. An old king, seated on a grand chair, demanded, who are these children, and what is that strange iron carriage? Eylül trembled but answered, we come from the future. The car brought us here. The king frowned, unconvinced, until his royal wizard examined the car and declared, Majesty, this is no ordinary carriage. It is a key to time itself. The king leaned forward. If that is true, then perhaps you can help us. Our river has dried. My people suffer. Will you aid us? Eylül and Mert exchanged glances. They had already saved one village, could they save a kingdom too? The wizard gave them a map, marking the river's source in the mountains. The children pressed the button again, and the car whisked them forward in time, into the future of that same land. There they found dams and aqueducts, and learned from an engineer that the river's true source lay hidden inside a mountain cave. Centuries ago, tunnels had been dug to guide the water back. Armed with this knowledge, Eylül and Mert returned to the Middle Ages. They explained everything to the king, who sent workers to dig near the cave. After days of effort, crystal water gushed forth, flowing into the river again. The city rejoiced. The king offered the children treasures and jewels, but Eylül shook her head. We cannot take these. We only wanted to help. Mert, however, stared longingly at a gleaming sword beside the throne. But Eylül tugged his arm before he could say a word, pulling him back to the car. With a flash of light, they were once again in their grandfather's barn. Midnight had fallen. The old house was quiet. But the siblings, hearts raced with excitement. They now knew the truth. The car could carry them to any time, any place, any adventure. Eylül smiled at her brother. One day, this car will take us to another world, another story. We must be ready. And in the dusty barn, the strange old car glowed softly, waiting for its next journey.